Hi, I wanted to take a minute to show you something in knitting that isn't very often seen, and I thought that might be helpful to you. So what I have here is a pair of socks, just the cuff of them. You can see they're plain on the back and have a pattern on the front, and I'm actually knitting them double. They're 2 socks at a time, and they come apart, of course. And so I'll demonstrate that, but that's not really the thing I want to show you. The thing I want to show you basically boils down to the how do you get to Carnegie Hall technique, which is to say practice. So this may not be super interesting because I'm pretty good at this. I practiced a lot. Typically when I do double knitting, I use English throwing, carrying the yarns in my right hand. And as I said, I've practiced this a lot, and I'm very good at it. I can tell the yarns apart even though they're the same color, and I don't get them twisted, and I don't end up making a pair of interlock socks. So I'm not going particularly slowly here because I'm not really trying to teach you how to double knit in this video. I think I have some videos where I have put up my double knitting that you can look at, and if not, I can make you a new one. That's not a big deal. What I actually wanted to show you was I have a pair, not here, but I have a pair of stranded socks that I've started. I've knit up the cuffs of those, and I'm just taking the stranding part, and I want to do the same thing. I want to do them as double knit socks on a pair of double pointed needles. So to do that, since each sock requires 2 yarns to do the stranding, that means I'm going to need to carry 2 yarns in each hand to do this. And I am really, really terrible at doing this method in Continental. And so that's actually what I wanted to show you, just how torturous and painful and agonizing this is to do something that I'm not very good at, that I want to be able to do. So I've gotten to the end of that particular. This is how used I am to holding it in my right hand. I just immediately start picking it up that way. So go ahead and arrange my needles. And I'm going to do the same yarn hold, which is go under and then split my yarns up using my middle finger so that and using my thumb to position them so that one runs over the first knuckle or the top of my finger, and one runs the next joint down. So I have actually, I'm going to do them the other way. So I have, if you look here closely, the yarn in front is closer to me and the yarn in back is further from me, which is the opposite of how I do it when I do English, but I've been trying it. So here I'm going to go ahead and attempt to do the same thing that I do knitting English, but in my other hand. And this is really the part that I wanted to show you, is that this is a real struggle for me, and I have to keep stopping and readjusting everything to be able to do this correctly. And I mean, I know where the yarns go. I know where everything is supposed to be positioned, but I'm not used to doing it. And so the thing I need to do, and the reason I picked up this this particular sock to do it on, is I need to practice. So that's what I'm doing today. And you can see that I'm not at all good at doing this in my other hand. But the only way I can get good at doing this in my other hand is by practicing it. So again, this may not be a very exciting demonstration, but I just wanted to show you that, nobody's born some kind of goddess of knitting. who just knows everything. Anyone who can do these complicated techniques had to go through this same process that I'm showing you right now of very, very tortuously trying to make each stitch until the motions become really familiar to you. And once they become familiar to you, then it suddenly becomes much, much easier. And you start to look like a knitting goddess, but you went through a period where you were very, very much what I would describe as, I guess, a knitting mortal, full of error and folly. So I hope this is kind of useful to you, just to know that, not everything is perfect for us, and that it's a lot of stopping and making adjustments and just practicing until all the movements get familiar and you can start to, see, very bad at this, get the same result using a new method as doing it the way that was already familiar and comfortable for you. And when I learned to double knit using both yarns in my right hand, of course, I had to go through the same process. I just, wasn't stupid enough to record it and put it out there for anyone who wants to see that, it's not all magic. It's very, very boring work. But it does eventually start to kind of come together. Purling is harder than knitting, and I may not actually need to be able to purl for this because it's stranded, and there's not a lot of patterns that are both stranded and mixing knit and purl in a row. But this might be handy for something else at some point. I mean, if nothing else, if I master this, I could theoretically knit 4 socks at a time on a pair of needles, which is really, really bad idea, but would be really cool to be able to do. I'll just give you a couple more of these very slow, very painful stitches. I think I'm starting, just barely starting to get the hang of this. And amazingly, I'm almost to the end of this needle, so I'll give it that far. I really want to make sure that I train myself to keep these yarns positioned widely spread, because otherwise it's really, really hard to pick up the correct one when you want to. Get around that needle. Get around this needle. See, it's just torturous. I can do this, I can do this. Cut that stitch. Now just do the back stitch. Spread my yarns out again. Cut it. And Got it. So that's it. Knitting is hard. Practice makes it better. And eventually, if you do enough of it, you can do some kind of cool things with it. Thank you.